Good afternoon, podcast listeners. It's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, and we are back on the air, recording live, direct, and not in the face, but we are recording live. Um, and this is an episode that we're trying to bring to you, and I am want to apologize to you first off. I've been away, and I haven't been able to bring you the meaty really hardcore jam packed podcast that I have in the past. I apologize for that, but I intend to fix that. Today's episode, as you already know, is about investments and some investment ideas that I wanted to share with you guys during this pandemic. This is some very unstable times and some very uncharted waters. The world hasn't seen this since the breakout of swine flu. We haven't seen these kinds of staggering numbers since previous World War II pandemics, and the lives lost have been just catastrophic. And so a lot of people oftentimes are wondering what to do with their money in times like these, right? No one really has an idea. Do I invest? Do I put it in the stock market? Do I take it out of the stock market? Do I just throw it all under my mattress, under my bed, and just wait for the sun to come up? So I wanted to just offer some tips, some programs, some websites that served me, that I've used or still use to this day, that I think you'll get a really good roundabout picture and a really good idea to what to do with your money in this time of pandemic. Obviously, there are numerous types of people with different types of financial backgrounds, and I think I can bring a very roundabout ratio to y'all. This is just for beginners. This is not for the intermediate, or the advanced level investor. This is just beginner level stuff to kind of get something going as you progress and seek knowledge and further guidance on what to do with your money. But this is some beginner level stuff. And so the first investment I want to talk about is the first type of it's actually an app. It's called Acorns, and this is a really good app because it is an escape from the traditional financial advisor setup where you would typically go to your local bank or your local Charles Schwab or Edward Jones or financial advisor and seek them out to help you figure out what to do with your investment money. Now, what the biggest thing is always barrier to entry. I always talk about barrier to entry and getting in with the most effective use of your dollars without paying a whole lot of fees or having to come with a whole bunch of money to the table. Typically, a financial advisor will not see you unless you have a large amount of capital to invest. So typically, financial advisors, because of the way they earn a commission and the way they make money, typically don't deal with a lot of customers that don't bring in a certain amount of money to them, or else they won't see you or they'll refer you off to someone else, because they typically want to deal with the bigger end clients, because basically the more money you bring them and they can invest for you and service for you, the more money they make. And also to that effect, the more money you bring to the table, if you brought $1 million, typically people with $1 million can kind of weather the storm a little better than someone who's bringing their entire life savings. Someone who has $1 million, when the stock market ebbs and flows and it goes up and down, someone with $1 million can weather that storm a little bit better than someone who's bringing their entire life savings of $100,000. And typically, what you see in the investing world is people with smaller amounts of money. The minute the stock market shifts, they're all to pieces because their whole livelihood is tied up in that $100,000 or those smaller amounts of money. Versus someone with $1 million, yes, he may have lost $100,000 or $150,000. That's not a big deal to him because he still has $850,000. So this, even though the swing is bigger with $1 million, you still have a pretty good nest egg set aside. And so I say all that to say that's why typically when you go to a financial advisor, they want the bigger stuff. So The first website that I wanted to recommend to you is called Acorns. It's a really good website, and it has the one of the lowest fees that I've seen to date when it comes to investing. The benefit of it is behind the scenes, working behind the scenes is how it works is you link a bank account, your primary bank account, and your debit card to the Acorns application. And the Acorns application basically tracks your spending habits. Not for malicious reasons, but it tracks your spending habits and whatever, and it invests the difference into a portfolio based off of your investment style. So let me break that down. If you go to the store and you buy something for $1.50, Acorns is going to see that transaction, and it's going to round up to the nearest whole dollar. So if you spent $1.50 to make it $2, the difference is 50 cents. So it's going to take that 50 cents out of your account and move it over to an investment account to where your money is then invested in a portfolio diversified based off of your investment tolerance. So the different types of investment tolerance, there's aggressive, moderately aggressive, conservative, very conservative. So that spare change is invested for you into a portfolio that you can now that is now invested in a stock market, ETFs, bonds, and cash equivalents. And so that's a unique tool because it takes a way of having to um, manage the investment yourself. It's already diversified in a portfolio for you. And the reason why it charges lower fees than a traditional financial advisor, because there is no financial advisor per se. The money is managed on the back end by a broker, dealer, and licensed financial servicer of that account. But it's not the traditional financial advisor where you could just call your financial advisor and engage him on what the market is doing. The money is in the spare change is invested, and it's invested for you based off of your risk tolerance. And as you grow older, your risk tolerance may change, and you will just adjust the application to invest more conservatively because you want your money to start moving out of stocks and into more secure assets like bonds or treasury bills or something like that. And so it's a really unique tool because it doesn't require a whole bunch of money, and again, it helps you solidify that habit of saving and investing for the future in small increments. And before you know it, you could easily have 25, 30, 40, 50, even $100 over the course of several weeks, depending on how you swipe that debit card. The unique thing with Acorns as well is it also has a banking system with it, so it also has a banking aspect to it. So you can actually have all in one shot your bank in Acorns, and you can have your investment portfolio with Acorns. And if you even want to take it a step further, you can have your retirement accounts with Acorns as well. They just are now breaking into the industry of offering retirement accounts that you can contribute to and invest in for the future. And so it is a really unique tool. It's a really powerful tool that helps get a lot of people started, I think, on the bandwagon of investing for their future. A si- Acorn Now a similar tool, a similar app is called Stash. Some of you may or may not have heard of it, but it works similarly like the Acorns application. The difference is Stash has a more educational base to it. And so instead of already pre-electing the investment accounts for you, you will actually choose the investments yourself. And so Stash works similarly in the sense as it takes money out of your primary checking account and it gradually transfers money over into the stash account. And that stash balance will accrue and build up. Meanwhile, Stash offers you a diverse portfolio of ETFs and stocks and bonds and different funds that you can invest in yourself. And so you pick and choose the investments. And Stash has a very unique way of breaking down each investment ETF to give you a good idea of what that core ETF is like. And ETFs are basically like you remember those songs, those Now I Got Music 20 or Now I Got Music CD albums back in the day, and it's a comprisal of the top 20 songs of that year. So these ETFs and Stash are similar. It's ETFs are basically a comprisal of the top performing stocks in that ETF is focused on. So you may have an ETF that is focused around um, um, military military investments. So the ETF is comprised of the top military stocks and bonds, and it mimics the actual financial market. Or you'll have an ETF that mimics the S&P 500 index fund or the Nasdaq. So these ETFs are comprised of um, stocks and bonds and mutual funds that mimic that mimic what the that whatever that market is doing at the time. So, prime example, you may have an ETF that invests in um, foreign countries and foreign small businesses, and so that foreign small business ETF will be comprised of the top performing um, China market, Indian, European markets, and it'll mimic the stocks of those markets. It's the top performing stocks of that market. So that's what ETFs are. And so your cash fund that's transferred whether weekly, monthly, bi-weekly out of your primary bank account into the stash account will build up. And you can take chunks of that money and invest it in whatever asset class or whatever ETF that you want. They may have an ETF that's strictly dedicated to real estate. And so you can I want to take $10 out of the $50 that have accrued in there, and I want to invest in ETFs that mimic the real estate market and invest in companies that um, are focused on real estate. And so it's a very unique tool, and Stash also now has that banking application to it, has that banking feature to it. And so it's those are some really two powerful tools that give you a diversity of options, whereas Stash, like I said, has a more educational piece, because again, your money isn't invested for you in the Stash application, and because it's not invested in for you, the Stash app takes the time to give you a lot of information and break it down and educate you on investing, the world of investing, and getting your feet wet, and what is a dividend, and what is a stock, what is an ETF, what is this, what is that. And it breaks it down so that when you do make a financial decision to invest in this company, you have a very good grasp and a very great head start in that investment. And Stash does a really great job at that, in teaching you that. So, two great tools. The third tool that I want to point out to you is that it's called Digits. And this, again, like its two counterparts, does the same thing. It takes money, it takes the money out of your checking account and slowly, in small portions, transfers that money into another bank account that is, this time the difference is it's not invested in a stock market. Digits is just a simple way for you to set money aside for a rainy day, or it'll set money aside for if you have a vacation that you're trying to save up for. Digits is a unique tool because just like Stash and Acorn, it links to your bank account. Now, the unique thing about Digits is that what it does is it has a algorithm, almost artificial intelligence piece to it. And when it's linked to your checking account, it it basically is constantly reviewing how you spend money And basically, with that algorithm and with that artificial intelligence piece, it figures out what you can afford to set aside for a rainy day. And it will transfer that amount based off of your spending habit to that separate savings account to save for a rainy day. So, prime example, um, if for an entire month, if you have an income of $2,500, but you only spend $2,000 every month, and the app Digit will actually realize, hey, he doesn't touch this extra $500, and he's done that consistently for the past 3 months, and it'll actually automatically transfer that money from your primary checking account, not all at once, or maybe all at once. It just depends, but you can actually set limits for that on what's the maximum, what's the minimum it can transfer all at once. But it'll actually incrementally transfer that money over because it'll realize that there is some money here that you don't touch and you don't use it. And so it's a very unique tool. I used it myself because when I first started saving, I needed a way to kind of almost hide money from myself. And so digits allowed me to do that. And it would take such small increments of money that I would never even realize was missing. And I never even know because, I mean, it would take 5 cents here, a dollar here, $2 over here. And I would never notice it because it was money I wasn't spending anyway. And it was money that I didn't even need. And so one time I remember I logged in. It had been like weeks or months that I hadn't even looked at digits. And I had over like $600 in the thing. And it was incredible to me, and it was encouraging to me, and it encouraged me to move on and keep doing what I was doing because I didn't even realize I had that much money in there because I had never missed it. Because again, it took it in small little increments. And so those are three tools that I want to share with you that have served me well, and I think they'll do really well for someone who's looking to figure out what to do with their money and what to kind of do with their finances and grow from here. And right now, if you're having trouble, finding work, having trouble finding um making money right now, I want to leave you with three options that I know I've done, other people have done, um, some of which is just I think will help serve you way better right now in this up and down climate right now. One of them is DoorDash. Right now, DoorDash, if you can think with me, follow along for me for a second. But DoorDash and drivers are making close to $1,000 a week because of the stay-at-home order in various states. And so because people are having to stay at home because they don't want to risk contracting the virus, um, home deliveries have increased, right? People are ordering out a lot because they're home a lot. People are ordering delivery a lot. And I met with a DoorDash driver, and he literally makes $1,000 a week just driving DoorDash because of how many orders are coming in and how many orders he's filled in that week. And so he does it full time. He doesn't work another job. And similar to DoorDash is Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is always looking for drivers, always been a delivery company. And so if you can't get in with DoorDash, give Pizza Hut, Domino's in your local area a try. I know for a fact I've done them when I first got out the military. I did them. And I worked for Pizza Hut for a little bit. And you know, you could easily in an 8-hour day make $200 a night, 200, $300 a night if you worked an entire, shift. In tips, on top of tips, you're still collecting a weekly wage. So you're still getting paid by the company every week, and then on top of that, you're collecting tips every night. So you're collecting cash tips every single night, and you're getting paid weekly. So two really powerful tools. And then the last piece that I want to leave you in is if you're having trouble saving money, investing money, consider home sharing or renting rooms out in your place or in your apartment. Consider, splitting the costs and splitting those costs, those household costs with someone else if you have the ability to. a $1,200 rent payment or $1,200 mortgage payment can easily be cut in half for two people, and now both of you are both saving $600, and you have the convenience and the luxury and the ability to still utilize an entire home. And so that's some really quick touch point options, but really powerful options. If you have a good quality vehicle or a semi quality vehicle, consider DoorDash or Pizza Hut. The I know you're gonna kill it for sure with any one of those two. And if you're looking to kind of cut costs, again, renting a room out, renting a garage out, maybe spending a little money and converting a garage so that you can save some money there. But two very powerful options. All right, fellas, this is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast. I hope this has served you, and I hope it's very beneficial to you, and I hope you got something out of this today. Please leave me a comment below in the comments block, or email me at marcusnorman737@gmail, and reach out to me and let me know how I'm doing. Those reviews help. Please hit the like button, share, and tell your friends if this has served you. I love to help other people. And so remember, gentlemen, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, Gentleman Style Podcast, signing off. Bye. Love you.